Hey everyone, it is Shay Seeking and I'm back with another video today. Today we are going to, if I can get myself all the way together. Okay. Today I want to bring you guys this tarot card, and I'm trying to teach myself to say tarot, because every time I want to say tarot I kind of confuse it with Torah. So you guys know that on this channel, we are not taking the mainstream way of looking at his story, because we know that it lied or he lied. And we're taking a look at, we're doing a series called This Is Not Your Mama's Bible Study, basically. So what we do here is look at the word, and we look at his story, and we look at we use esoteric knowledge, discernment, all tools that I think that people or humanity has lost the ability to use when it comes to discerning and seeing what we may be talking about on a deeper level, or I like to say sometimes realm, because we are in a day when some of these things are going to be coming to light, and we need to know who we're talking to, who exactly, not the shut up in a box or in the temple made by man's hands. We don't want to be shut up in that mindset, right? We want to look a little bit deeper. We want to go ahead and peel back the layers of this big old nasty onion. And there's going to be a lot of tears, and there's going to be a lot going on. But again, we're not coming here to try to, we're here to break generational curses, okay? And I'm trying to be as kind and tender as I can be, but we're not here to care about feelings, okay? I really don't give that much a care about somebody's feelings about us or me looking at something in a different way that I am interpreting it, that I have been given, I feel, many of us, okay? I think that this whole awakening and this coming of this Christ is the Christos, or what might be something that might be within every man, possibly woman and child, if we're just looking at it like this. Okay, this is something that I'm not sure everyone says. And again, I'm not here, never on this channel, to tell you what it is, what it ain't. I'm just telling you what it looked like and what it looked like to me. I'm speaking out and saying these things because I think these are a lot of things that some people are thinking or going through these awakenings, and they feel like they're doing something wrong because they're walking away from their faith into something that we would call knowledge. Okay. They're walking away from their belief or belief, and they're walking into, again, knowing. Okay, so again, your Bible and the word scripture says so, that this thing was going to occur, but man has given you the Bible knowing that no one takes that much time and they don't go deeper, because he has altered your perception as to what you're supposed to be looking for when you're looking at this word. This is why we're in this situation and why we're not moving forward. And this is why so many people are being deceived and maybe into worshiping the wrong deities, in my eyes. Okay. So I'm not here to convert you. I'm not here to do anything. I'm here to present some information, and we're just asking, what could this mean? Because I think the deep thought process has left humanity, like a huge chunk of it, and we're so busy being entertained. And even when it comes to church, we're so busy being indoctrinated by these schools. We're so busy being also indoctrinated by mankind and his law, or what he might call his rule. It's just so many things going on. So again, here we're basically taking his story, and we're basically taking some of this knowledge that's being bestowed upon some of us that are in this awakening, okay, and not afraid to open up that door, okay, and we are here to wake others up along the way. Okay. It's not something that you choose. It's something that you're chosen for. It's something that you feel like you've been here for your whole life. And people are going to talk about you and they're going to laugh at you because they just can't believe. They might want to hear the truth and they might want to hear this information that was coming from the people that's been deceiving them all this time, right? In their school systems, and all their scholars and all the people that are just using the mainstream information that's been given. And if something else comes up that steers them away from that, or something that might be a little bit more closer to the truth that they don't want you to know, they just tuck it away, or that person loses their job and they just keep on with the way that they want to use to indoctrinate and to paralyze the minds of the people that are supposed to be waking up. So they've given you a perception of this man that doesn't even look like you, okay? And they have given you the perception of Jesus being what we would call that Christos. And this is why, again, I don't like to use the two together. I don't like to. It's rarely used together in the word, but I don't like to use them together because I believe we're talking about something else. I think they created a false idol, and they've created a graven image and statues of this graven image and everything for us to worship. The word says not to do so, and so again, we're just challenging what we've been taught and what we've been told. Okay, because the most of the information that we have received about this book and this word has been in the church. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this in a different light. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too long of a disclaimer or introduction. I'm trying to get better at this. What I'm going to do is go ahead and read from the scripture. You guys know I love to use this living Bible and the King James version. It's late, y'all. I'm sorry. I should probably be asleep. But it was just on my mind, and I just think that the whatever it is, the spiritual something will not, or the frequency will not let me rest until I bring this to you. Now, I'm not going to pretend like this. I'm going to tell you guys a short story and then we're going to move on. I'm not going to pretend like this came to my mind all by myself, because I'm telling you that there are workers. There are messengers. There are people amongst you right now that are speaking this stuff. And most of the stuff you probably think is crazy. They are speaking this stuff and no one's listening and we're not being heard. Okay? That's not saying that we're some body that's better than everybody and we just know everything. We don't. We're just bringing forth information and asking questions. Because the more you think you know, the more you see that you don't know, in my eyes. If that makes any sense. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is, if you feel these things, that there is a place for you, and if you feel like you are pulling away from society and you are harboring yourself and meditating and thinking on things, and things are coming to you and weird things are happening, like information being downloaded into you or uploaded or whatever you might want to call it, you are not alone. Okay? So this is something, I just want to tell you a quick story, then we're going to move on. So I was on, last week, I ended up taking my daughter, to a Goodwill outlet. She wanted to go there to check out some stuff. So, I usually try to stay away from places like that because I buy vintage stuff and I do too much sometimes. So we went there and, we were about to leave. We didn't even notice that we were in there for like 2 hours. So we were going to leave, and the lady said, hey, you need like not even a pound, a couple of ounces in order to, get to your weight limit, so that we knock off 40 cents per dollar or whatever for per pound or whatnot, whatever she said. So I'm like, okay, knowing me, I'm just going to go back and see what I can find. So I went back real quick and I looked and I told her to go find, maybe you can find a shirt or something to add on to it. I think she found something, but I was looking around in a bin that I had already went through and I saw something sticking out that looked like a box of cards. Now, I collect vintage cards. I probably have way too many, but it's for, other crafty purposes or whatever. So anyways, too much information. So I ended up seeing this box that looked like cards or whatever, and I looked next to it and I was like, oh, I think those look like tarot cards. Now, mind you, something like this has been on my mind, coming out of believing in having a religious mindset, okay, and then looking at things like this, I've been always afraid to, or is something attached to it that's going to get me. But you know what did I say? The things, the way the world is right now, and the things we're going through right now, I'm willing to try anything that I feel like my spirit is guiding me towards to just look into it. Okay. So I seen these cards or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, they are. That's pretty cool. I can stick these in some of my little things or whatever. And so I picked them up, and then I seen the little book, like it was brand new, but the stuff was like ripped out of the box or whatever. So I pick up the box or whatever. I take it up there. We weigh it. Boom. We got the weight, the pounds or whatever we needed. So we end up leaving. Okay. Now, mind you, I get home and I'm looking at the cards. I'm like, wow, these are kind of cool. I see like there's a lot of symbolism in it or whatever. So, you know, I start looking at the cards and they start registering to me. And I'm like, what in the world? Some of this stuff look like biblical stuff. Wait a minute. What is we talking about here? So I'm just pulling cards. You know, I think it was the Tower, the Empress, the Queen of Swords, the Pentacles, let's see, I think the Lovers showed up for me. The Hermit kept sticking out. One of these ones with these 7 cups or whatever stood out. The Wheel of Fortune. In the 7, wait, what is it? Hold on, let me see if I can see it here. Well, this one doesn't have a name, but it's the one, we'll get to it later. Okay, so, you know, I'm new to it. I'm just peeping these or whatever, because you guys know I'm a visual person or whatever, so I'm peeping. So anyways, I'm sitting here and I'm going through these cards, reading definitions, just getting familiar with the cards and pulling them and playing with them. So the next day, probably like two days later, okay, so I'm like, I feel like I see something biblical. There's something more to these cards. What is the, you know, scriptures are running through my mind or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that there is I never really look at, what do you call those? The things that pop up for 24 hours on Facebook, the stories or whatever. But I saw somebody new up there that I hadn't seen. It was a beautiful sister. Her name was Sandra. Okay. And I don't know, you know, I'm not going to give her last name and everything because I don't know if people want me doing that. So I ended up clicking on her story, and then I think later on a live or something popped up, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember adding this person. Who is this? What is she about? So I go looking on her page, and then I find out that she's live or whatever. So she's live at the moment, and you know, I don't normally watch lives or whatever, but I said, let me see what she's talking about or whatever. So she starts talking about these cards, and she starts talking about how, you know, some of this might be in the Torah. So she brings up the fact that you know, Ezekiel 4, 1 and 4. And she reads that. And then she reads, I think, all the way down to maybe 10 or whatever. And, you know, I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm seeing something here. I'm looking at the symbols and everything. And, you know, lo and behold, she gave me what I needed. And that's what I'm saying about looking to. They got us so far away from ourselves that somebody that look like you try to bring you some information, you don't want to hear it. You want to hear it from the same people that have been deceiving you all this time. Everything you think you know is a lie. The world is a stage and you have been gotten. Okay. So I'm just wondering now, hey, wait a minute. Now I'm seeing this. I'm drawn to this. I'm checking out this girl. She's talking the same thing. What are we really talking about here? So we're going to go ahead and read it and see if you guys see what we're seeing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just read the first page right here. And I'm going to go ahead and try to read this as quick as possible so we can stay under like 30 minutes or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and read from the King James Version because there may be words here that might trigger something into you seeing something. I have gone through the extreme work of spending 45 minutes here putting together something like a slideshow. You know, that's probably as best y'all gonna get out of me. And we're gonna just go ahead and go in. We're gonna read the King James Version, only the first page. I think it goes up to 1 and 15, and then we're gonna do the same thing with the Living Bible. So I hope y'all ready. I couldn't wait to do this, and now let's get into it. So I don't think that this stuff is important, but we're just gonna read it anyway. Okay. So it says, "Now it came to pass in the 13th year, on the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Chebar, that the heavens were opened." Okay. "And I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of the king Jehoiakim, or Jehoiachin, okay, captivity, the word of the Lord came expressingly unto Ezekiel the priest, okay, the son of Buzai, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, okay, now this is number 4, okay? So it says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Now, let's go ahead and play this little slideshow. We might have to start it over a couple times because I don't know how fast or whatever. These are the key words right here that come to my mind when I'm thinking about this whole thing put together, right? So it says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud and a fire unfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber. Okay. I keep on losing track. Okay. Out of the midst of the fire. Okay. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Okay. They had the likeness of, and out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Okay. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Okay. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. Okay. Oh, let's see. I wonder, can I move this? Okay. Let's move this over here somewhere. Okay. Had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of the calf foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Now, just to stop here for a second, okay? Well, maybe I didn't stop. If you look at the hands on these, if you look at the front forearm of this, it looks kind of like a man. Now, this one looks more like maybe like a lion, but if you look at the hands on these, that's why I put a whole bunch of these together for you to look at. It kind of looks like that. And there's more that's going to come into it, right? And then if you look at the hind legs, not on this one, but on another, because, okay, I'm sorry. What I have here, before I rudely started, what I have here is images that I found when I looked up Eziekiel's will. And there is a mixture of images that are different tarot cards that I guess that most of the tarot cards are in the Rider Way. What's his name? Yeah, like Rider Waite cards. But there's so many different ones now, that is just ridiculous. Okay. So, again, everybody's eyes catch these cards at a different way, and cards speak to the people that are reading them. So, yeah, so that's what I have here in this image thing, okay, in this slideshow. So let's go ahead and go back. And under their wings, on their 4 sides, okay, and they had the hands of, wait a minute, y'all, where was we at? Here. Ezekiel 1:7, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of the calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. And they had, let's see, the hands of man under their wings on their 4 sides, okay, on their 4 sides. And they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight. Let's see. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was still there. Okay, so they went everyone straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they four had the faces of a man. Okay, and the faces of a. Okay, so now it says, as for the likeness of their faces, they four had the faces of man. Okay, and the faces of lions. Okay, on the right side. Okay, and they four had the faces of an ox on the left side. They four also had the faces of an eagle. Okay, let's see if I can speed this up for a second. Okay. I really wanted to read that right here to you guys. So we're just going to go ahead and go back. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to pick one where we can see. Okay. So it says, as for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man and the face of a lion. Here's your face of a man. Here's your face of the lion. Here's your face of the ox. Okay. And the face of the eagle. Okay. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. Most of the ones that have wings, even the one that looked like a man, is upward, 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 upward. Two wings of every one were joined one to another. Okay? And I don't know if these two are joined. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is just for you to go ahead and be able to pick up on this in your own way. Okay? And two covered their bodies. Okay? So now we're going to go ahead, just as I pointed those out to you. Let's just keep on. Let's go back to where we were. Okay. I think we were probably about, okay, we were probably about here. Look. We're just going to start over from the beginning. Okay. Okay. So thus their faces and their wings were stretched upward. Two wings of every one joined one to another. Two covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go. They went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living, okay, hold on, up and down among the living creatures. And the fire was bright. Living creatures. And out of the fire went forth lighting. There's your lighting. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of the flashing light. Now as I beheld, okay, the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth. Okay, hold on. By the living creatures with his four faces. Okay. Now, I'm not 100% sure because I feel like I'm seeing three creatures here, but then you have your four here. And I know this can be a face of like something like a calendar or a clock or something or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and continue, and we're going to go ahead and read. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and read Ezekiel 1 in the Living Bible, and I'm going to go ahead and speed it up for you guys here because I think that we had already went through all of those images, and I don't want to hold you guys back for too long. I think we were somewhere around here before I interrupted it, okay? So Ezekiel was a priest. The son, okay, so now this is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 1 in the Living Bible. So it says Ezekiel was a priest, the son of Buzai. I don't know, Buzai. We'll just say that. Who lived with the Jewish exiles beside the Chebar Canal in Babylon. Okay? And when we start thinking Babylon, hey, it could be a system that could be worldwide. It could be a system that was in a place. It could be, Babylon could be somewhere overseas. There's the daughter of Babylon. And I still think that has something to do with the English crown. And when you see the coat of arms with the lion on one side, and then you see the baby lion on the top of the crown. But anyhow, I think a lot of that whole Christ thing, let's go ahead and pause this right here for a second. That whole Christ thing is consistent of going around. I think it might have something to do with this sun too, that's on this here. Something to do with the symbolism that's within here. So, or maybe even up here, okay? But I'm just, you guys know that you can let me know when I'm reaching, but I'm just simply pointing you out. It's kind of like trying to figure out a puzzle. I'm just spitting things. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, nothing is fact here. Nothing that you've been taught is a fact. These are mere decisions that have been made by people that don't want you to be in touch with yourself in the Christos that's within you. So they have altered your perception, and we're trying to break out of that. That's all it is. And we're challenging the word, no matter who's said, to say who we're talking about, what, when, and where. I want to be able to determine that for myself. I don't want any man to deceive me. If there was a such thing as a heaven and hell, I think I should do my due diligence so that I don't end up there, not just go the way that looks more acceptable and more easy to go down because this is what everybody else does. That's just not me. I go against the grain all the time. And I don't mind it now. I'm going to just do me 100% and let, I'm going to just use discernment and other tools that have been given to me, like common sense and things, to navigate my way through this realm. Okay. So I've given up on this realm a long time ago. Okay. As far as materialism and entertainment and all this other stuff, I've given up on it. Okay. I might have to be connected to it still throughout my daily life because I'm still a being that's on this earth. But again, So I like this Living Bible because it does things like this. Now, when it was saying it came to pass on the 13th year in the 4th month in the 5th day, I was automatically thinking April. I was thinking April, okay? But, this is why I study the way that I do, in using also history to line up things. Like, for instance, like you guys know, my so-called theory is that when we're talking about these days, like the 7th day, we're talking about the 1700s and so on. So a lot of the 1800s is going to be cloaked in speaking of this in the New Testament, if this is accurate, okay? I still was thinking that we're talking about the Hebrew calendar, but I'm not sure in this instance because the Living Bible actually says a date. It says 1 day late in June. So, but it doesn't give you the exact date, but it says June. Okay, that's what I meant. It gives you a month. So when I count June, there's something not right, okay? And the young lady that did the video pointed out the fact that there's 2 signs that are being left out of the, what do you call it when it comes to your, zodiac, or different types of zodiac signage or calendars or whatnot, okay? So I didn't get to ask her more about that because I couldn't stay, but I would like to look into that because, if we're talking about April, now then we're talking about May, June. That's 2 months. Not to say that this is exactly what she was talking about, but I'm just saying, now do I have to go back to my Hebrew calendar and see what June would be, and if it's considered being the 4th month. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes you can get the day too. So June, say it was to say June the 5th day or whatever. You can look June 5th and see what all happened in the historical timeline when it comes to not biblical, because that's just going to be you basically spitting back out. Well, you could, to see what else was going on in the Bible at that time and then compare it to what was going on in real history. And a lot of times I like to look at American history first because it seems to help me get right there. But then sometimes I look at world history or history somewhere else too to see if what we're talking about, okay? So when it says, when I was 30 years old, the heavens were suddenly opened up to me, okay? Now, I'm thinking this has something to do with wisdom. You know what I'm saying? A different mindset, a different mentality, okay? That they're suppressing that by entertaining us to death, by getting us involved in silly things such as consumerism and things like this, okay? And like I said, entertainment and all these other things are there. This is why they keep you in school and indoctrinate you with all this stuff about these people over and over again. You and your children, everybody that went through this school, and nobody seemed to be no smarter than they used to be. You know what I'm saying? The people that are getting these jobs that they need to prove that they're smart are just people that have been chosen to do these things in order to deceive a mass of people for centuries now, okay? So when will we wake up from this, okay? And know that nothing man has to offer you is anything that's going to free us from this condition that we're in. This is something about you realizing yourself. Now, how are you going to teach your children this? And we think we teach our kids these morals and standards and everything like this, and they're going to listen. You're not even living by them. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you're just desperately looking for someone else to tell you something that's already built into your damn DNA. So again, let's finish reading. Y'all know I get sidetracked. They were suddenly open to me, and I saw a vision from God. I saw in this vision a great storm coming toward me from the north, driving before it a huge cloud glowing with fire. Okay? Now, I just wanted to so you can look at this, and kind of see this. I'm not saying I agree with this. It's just something else that I just found and I thought it was cool and go ahead and put it there. But yes, I do think that this, has something to do with Anubis and, whatever, and maybe even Set and the other brother or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and keep it moving now. Okay, so I saw a vision in the great storm coming towards me from the north, driving before it a huge cloud glowing with fire, with a mass of fire inside that flashed continuously, and in the fire there was something that shone like polished brass. There was then from the center of the cloud 4 strange forms appeared that looked like men, except that each had 4 faces and 2 parts of wings. No, 2 pairs of wings. Their legs were like those of men, but their feet were cloven like calves' feet, and shone like burnished brass. And beneath each of their wings, I could see human hands. If you look at these images again, some of these images look kind of weird because the front hands or the front limbs of these beasts on especially the Rider-Waite card look like hands. They look like their hands sitting on the book about to start reading the book. Okay, so this is from Ezekiel's will. This is not from the tarot. Okay, this is from the Torah. Tarot. Just and this is one thing that kind of automatically resonated with me because I kept on mistakenly calling these tarot cards Torah cards, and then I ran into this young lady's video, and she was sitting here talking about this 2 days later. So it was just crazy to me, Again, like I said a couple weeks back, how is the new being in town, even if this is on your land, okay? Even if we want to say they were here, but on your land, and how long are the the ancient ones gonna be sitting here acting like they can learn something from the new kids on the block. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Okay, so we already said that part. It says the four living beings were joined wing to wing, and they flew straight forward without turning. Each had the face of a man in front, with a lion's face right on the right side, okay, of his head, okay. Oh, look, here's this right here. Well, okay, this is talking about the biblical thing, though. Okay, so wait, yeah, this is talking about the biblical thing. But you notice how the right side and the calf is on the other side, and how the Sphinx is at the top. But then again, it's the same way on those other cards, okay? And then here you go right here. This is also from the biblical aspect, okay? And then you have this cross, and then this cross looks like that cross that's on the back of Christ's head a lot of times. And this just happens to be the eagle over here. And the eagle represents a lot of the fowl of the air that was planting their seeds on the earth and creating natives and indigenous people upon those. I think has a lot to do with that, okay? And I think that thing said something about the rulership of man right here. But then we have this whole thing with Aquarius maybe going on here, pouring out the waters or whatever. So, you know, is that the law of man that made them do the floods to flood the nations of the inhabitants, which are the earth, or the people of the earth, or the aborigines of the lands, okay? So this is I'm just saying, this is where I'm coming with the top of my head. And that's why it's nice to have all these cards here, because they all resonate differently. Now, this also is a biblical aspect of it from Ezekiel's wheel. Like I said, I have a mix of stuff that I found from Ezekiel, and then a mix of the actual card. But you can see the resemblances that is going on with this, okay? Now, let's see. It says, each had the face of a man in front, with the lion's face on the right side of his head, and the face of an ox on the left side. And the face of an the face of an eagle at the back. Okay. Again, are we talking about if we lay this card flat and how you're looking at it in that manner? Because then you do have the eagle in the back, and you do have the lion on the right in the front. And then you do have, you know what I'm saying? So it's different ways to be looking at this. And then here you go too. Is this spinning? Then, you know, it's changing over time, you know, with the seasons, with the earth, you know, somehow connected to the earth, and just, you know, somebody has altered what we see when we're looking at this. And a lot of these things that they call mythology are really basically, you know, and that's why, let me tell you one thing. Hearing things, that's why I'm saying there is a spiritual thing that is going on. Not spirituality that you think you're getting in church, but there is something occurring amongst the people. Okay. And it's so funny because I'm thinking these things, I'm seeing these things, and out of all of the videos that I could have picked, I've picked up on, I think I watched probably about, we'll say about 2 hours worth of Bobby Hemmett, maybe about 4 years ago. And then he was going a little bit too far for me, so I kind of put it down. And I thought maybe he might be having some good points, but he might be a little bit out there. So then, you know, recently I've been kind of going back into his teachings. And I'm just saying, that man, you could say whatever you want to say. You could say whatever you want to say about him, but that man is definitely a very intelligent, filled with a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, and he knows how to interpret it and bring it to the people so that it resonates with you. Okay, and there's no signage of me. I don't know him personally. I don't know everything about him, but there's no, it's something that resonates with me in my soul when I hear him speak, and I'm feeling really much fed. You know, I thought I was feeling that when I was listening to Farrakhan, but as soon as I just, you know, when I feel something, I just had to stick with what I feel. Okay, and I felt like, yeah, there's something there, but no, you're not in that position because of whatever. But with Bobby Hemmett, it's just a different feeling I get from him. And he's definitely what I would call somewhat of a prophet of this day and age. Or what I think I've seen somebody note him or say that he might be a not a but something like a black Nostradamus or something, but they put it differently, more crafty than that. But you know, and that's kind of like what it is, because I swear to you, I would listen to one of his works the other day, and then I listened to one of his works from like 15 years ago. And he was saying what was occurring right now in the spirituality of people, especially brown skinned people around the world, especially in the Americas, word for word. And also was talking about the fact that they're going to try to use reparations in the end times in order to deceive the people. I'm just saying. Okay. It was word for word. This awakening was being described on the fact of us looking through our ancestors and our family. Everything was to the T what was happening. And this was on VHS. Somebody recorded it off of VHS to put it online for us to see from years ago. Okay. So I'm just saying, I will take information from anybody if it's useful and helping me understand or overstand. Okay. So again. Okay, each had 2 pairs of wings spread out from the middle of his back. One pair stretched out to attach the wings of the living being to each side, and the other pair covered his body. Wheresoever the spirit went, they went, going straight forward without turning. Going up and down amongst them were other forms that glowed like bright coals. Now, I don't know. Of fire or brilliant torches, and it was from these lighting flashes that living beings darted to and fro, swift as lightning. Now, I don't know, y'all. Hold on. Let me see. Swift as lightning. As I stared at all of this, I saw the 4 wheels on the ground beneath. Now, okay, so they're not showing it in this one. Okay, but we're almost done with this. And my question to you guys, right when we're going to be done with this, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about the darting back and forth, okay? If this next one comes up. But what I want to say is, why hasn't someone that does the tarot cards, okay? Why hasn't someone that does the tarot cards recognized this more or came forward? With so many people that just are going into this whole thing, when it goes into the Wiccan and the, going back to the so-called witchcraft and going back into these things, why hasn't someone brought this information forth? And on the flip side, why hasn't someone that is biblical, well, I'll tell you why it's more on the other side of being religious. That's what I mean. Of being religious keeps us from seeing these type of things, because why did religion tell you to stay away from these things if these things are only in reference, some of these things, to what's in the Bible? So did witchcraft get this from the Bible and now they're using it over here? Or did the Bible get this from witchcraft and now they're using it there? Or what's the real deal? This is the thing on this channel. We're just questioning things. We're just trying to get a different outlook on some of these things that are occurring. And with these correlations that we're seeing in the word and then in his story, and then now we're seeing it when it comes to the tarot. Is this something that they're basically using to keep you hidden from yourself in a higher state of mind, or vibrating to a higher frequency? These are things that you have to ask yourself. These are definitely things that you have to ask yourself. But what I want to show you right here, okay? I noticed that it's flipped the script on this image right here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So again, I don't know if these are the things they're talking about that are darting like lightning, but I'm just wondering if it's these things. I just don't know 100%. But I'm telling you one thing, we're going to go back. We're going to come back in a minute and we're going to go into Ezekiel 1 and what is it? because it gets deeper, okay? And you guys can break off and do your own thing or whatever at this point if you don't want to sit through another long video. But we're going to go ahead and finish up Ezekiel 1, and then we're going to go ahead and do another one on Ezekiel 2, and then I'm going to try to make these a little bit shorter since I've already done the disclaimer. I'll do a shorter disclaimer so we can get right into it. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for watching. And again, I'll see you guys soon. And, in some ways, I think it is, what was I going to say? Each one teach one, but then again, is it really? Or are there certain people that are going to be on this frequency and they are already attached to it, and they are going to be the ones to carry this thing out, because everybody can't be woken? Or can everybody be awake? But I'm just going to keep on trying, and I'll be the one to take the brunt of it. I'll be the one to be talked about and laughed at, and people call me names and be mad at me for bringing up things and talking against their religious structure. I'll be the scapegoat. Okay. If it means something for saving the minds of the people, okay, because a little bit of cash ain't going to do nothing for you. We're still going to be incorporated into their system, okay, and they're going to still have rulership over you, and you're still just going to become a consumer, and you're just going to use that money, blow it, and then where are you going to be? We need to free the minds of the people, okay, and then maybe look at how you're going to get some compensation or something for your suffering. But again, how can we put a price on our ancestors' troubles in the stealing of the land and the mass deception that has been going on? I don't want a little compensation, financially compensated. I want it all. I want my 100% freedom back. I want it back for me and all my people. I want it back for, I want my land back. I want you to give me all the information that you have hiding in those old dingy ass buildings of my family and everyone else. And that's what I want. That's what freedom is to me. I want free from everything that has something to do with you, to live my life the way I want to live it. Okay, to be rid of this system, okay, to a certain extent, okay? Everybody might not be comfortable with that, but I think something is about to occur that nobody expected, okay? So, again, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back with part 2. Take care.